Hello everyone! This is not one of my usual videos, this is more of a teaser. You see, I do have quite a bit of stored up footage for some weeks, so expect some good things to be uploaded on my channel quite soon. But for now, I will start off by quickly throwing together an AM4 test bench. I didn't even bother using the test bench itself, I just put it on top of the box like a proper PC enthusiast. The reason I'm building all of this up is because I want to do a quick head-to-head test between Zen 3 with X3D and the equivalent Zen 4 without stacked cache. So after a bit of, well, kinda haphazard assembly, what I have in front of me are two Ryzen configurations that cost roughly the same. On the one hand, there is the Ryzen 5 5700 X3D, and on the other, the Ryzen 7700. From a purely economics perspective, I already made up my mind to go with the 7700 because it's the newer forward-looking platform that is more suited to the RTX 4070 that I will be using for this build. But is this really the whole story? In order to find out, I decided to compare the platforms using two titles that I believe best represent the role of CPUs for gaming. Naturally, no synthetic benchmarks need apply here. Yes, I could have ran things at 1080p low to exacerbate differences, but at the end of the day, I care about actual use cases, not theoretical. I'm sure it wouldn't surprise you to know that the results were incredibly close, but did they change my mind? Well, let's find out. First off, the game I really wanted to test, Cyberpunk 2077. This is still a very hard game to run almost 4 years. Yes, it's been that long since its release. And while at launch it was a bit of a hot mess, the developers have managed to get it into a very decent shape that makes for a very compelling experience. For our specific purposes, I'm also happy to report that the hardware utilization aspect has not been neglected. Now, as you can see from the side by side, the benchmark is neck and neck. In the end, by the slimmest of margin, the newer chip did take the win. Now, I must admit I did use a bit of a subpar cooler for this processor when the power consumption was considerably higher for the 7700, but this platform has the overall advantage of longevity. Still, those X3D chips, they're awesome. The other game I wanted to have a look at is Farcry 6. This is a game that sits firmly on the other side of the optimization spectrum compared to Cyberpunk 2077. It really likes high frequencies and relatively modest core and thread counts. The only exception to that is that, let's call it, engorged cache that the X3D CPU brings to the table. And it shows, in this case, that 5700 X3D is ever so slightly faster. So, decision time. If these two were contemporary platforms, I would choose the 5700 X3D. It's a no-brainer, right? We've just proved that it's almost just as fast as the 7700 while being miles more power efficient. You can even beat it in scenarios where that extra cache really comes into play. But hold up, as AM4 is functionally end of life while AM5 has been confirmed to run to at least 2027, it just means that there is no reason why in 2 years when the 9000 series successor is launched to not pick up a replacement chip or not to grab the opportunity when the 9000 X3D chips hit the bargain sale. I really hate the phrase future-proofing, mostly because when a tech-savvy person says it, he or she means that the value of your parts and usability will be better down the road, even though sometimes it might only be marginally. Unfortunately, when someone less tech savvy hears it, he or she thinks that their computer will not age for at least a few years, which unfortunately isn't how things work. In this particular example, the 5700 X3D will naturally begin to struggle significantly in give or take 3 years time, with no choice but to upgrade your whole machine if you want better performance. While in the case of the AM5 platform, it will probably be just a matter of swapping out the CPU and you are good to go for another few years after that. Sure, the memory bandwidth might be suboptimal or you might be missing some features, but if AM4's life cycle is anything to go by, all those trade-offs won't even be blips compared to the massive advantages brought on by upgrading. And well, that's it for this one, just a quick teaser for my next build. Have a great day and see you in the next one.